weekly world climate change news. This is Reem Tamer from Egypt, and here are today's headlines. Climate change's effects will last thousands of years. UK archeological sites undermined by climate change. Emissions and dairy breeding. US pledge to fight climate change. European climate standards in the construction are too low. Will climate action happen now? Climate change and the 2022 Winter Games. Climate change's effects will last thousands of years. The size of Greenland could be impacted by the emissions of greenhouse gases for thousands of years, as researchers claim. Greenland is actually the second largest ice sheet on Earth after Antarctica. Climate change is causing global temperature rises, causing the melting of Greenland's ice sheets and glaciers. However, how much is melting and how and to which pace still remains unclear. UK archaeological sites undermined by climate change. Up to 22,500 archaeological sites in the UK are threatened by climate change. Warmer weather dries out waterlogged soils and reduces the ability for soils to preserve organic materials such as wood, textiles, and leather. Archaeologists working on a Roman fort along Hadrian's Wall told the BBC they fear this is already happening at their site. Climate change is not only threatening our future, but it could also be destroying part of our past. Emissions and dairy breeding. The reduction of meat consumption could limit the emissions of greenhouse gas from agriculture by 62% across the world's 54 richest countries, freeing up enough land to store 100 billion tons of carbon. A new study stressed the fact that it is perhaps one of the biggest health opportunities we have to limit GHG emission within 1.5 target, stepping up climate change mitigation. US pledge to fight climate change. The United Nations team in Morocco has launched a new campaign called From Milan to Glasgow, Moroccan Youth Leaders in the Spotlight. Its goal is to inspire young people to take action on climate change and also to minimize damaging carbon emissions. Also, Morocco's UN resident coordinator has characterized the country as a key leader in climate change activities. European climate standards in the construction are too low. New reports show that European climate standards in the construction sector are insufficient to meet climate goals. The decarbonization process of the building sector is too slow to meet the 2050 targets set by the European Union. 40% of CO2 emission can be linked to the construction sector at the moment. The report thus calls for a revision of existing EU directives. The integration of standards with regards to energy demand and efficiency are deemed to be key to meet the 2050 decarbonization targets of the EU. Will climate action happen now? Nat Kuhane, president of the Center for Climate and Energy Solutions, states that addressing climate change is simultaneously an urgent and a long game. Therefore, the idea of the last best hope doesn't hold much merit. Climate change impact is not a binary on or off issue. Many problems like increased flooding, wildfires, heat waves, and severe storms have already begun. How much worse they get will be shaped by how aggressively the world acts to slow climate change. Climate change and the 2022 Winter Games. Climate change is undermining the Winter Olympics and other sport activities by complicating the circumstances for athletes, participants, and supporters, wrote the journalists all over the world in the news before the beginning of the 2022 Winter Games in Beijing. This is not only energy and water intensive, frequently using chemicals to slow melt, but also delivers a surface that many competitors say is unpredictable and also potentially dangerous. This is as describes the report, made by analysts from the Sport Ecology Group at Loughborough University in England and also by the Protect Our Winters Environment team. That was Dreamtimer from Egypt with you. Thank you for watching UV Society News and goodbye.